would like all the volunteers to come out. All the volunteers. Where are they? I've already told them. So every year we do we invite people to apply to volunteer at Ake Festival, and this year we got over 400 applications. So my staff then start going through, and these are the guys who were successful. Now, so it's a mixed bag. We have people like Alade. He's been volunteering. He volunteered here last year. He was with us at Ake. He was with us at Kaba Fest, I think 2 years in a row. So it's wonderful. People like Hassana Meina are just kind of volunteering with us for the first time. But she was one of our speakers at Kaba Fest. Incredible feminist from northern Nigeria. We have two others from Kaduna. Where are they? He came all the way from Kaduna. She came all the way from Kaduna to come and be with us and volunteer. Nimi Sire performed at Kaba Fest as well. She's a poet. But these guys, there is just no way that we could execute Ake Festival without them. They literally come here and work. And they have been amazing. We don't pay them a lot of money. We just give them what we call a token. But we do try to feed them. Was the food good? Sorry? Yes. You are supposed to say yes, please. Don't know. And as a present, what I have, where's the Nikon bag? I've got a bag of t-shirts and extra things, and we're giving that all to you guys because you are phenomenal. And I want to say thank you to you. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. When you are at that stage where when you are getting ready to start your own things, you will find people to rally around you and you will find success. So these I'm going to give to you. Take them away and don't party too hard tonight. Off you go. Yeah, they know it. Thank you. So there's that lot, and they're amazing. But you know, there's a picture that I posted on Twitter where it was 2 pictures. One was from November last year. So after each Ake Festival, we get together in November and we start planning the next one. And there's a picture of us, you know, arguing about black bodies, gray matter. And then I think it was this week actually, earlier on in the week, we were here doing our final run through. I would like to invite every member of my team, my core team, to come out for recognition so that you can see how amazing they are. They have a tradition of not coming out. I should warn you, but push them in this direction if you see them. Ola, please, you know that thing you normally do. I'm sure that's Amaka. Oh yeah, come. Come first. Where's Demola, Toby, Chiebuka, Alex? Did you guys plan this?
No, we're just handling shit.
Well, we sure as hell didn't do this just by ourselves, did we? Yeah. So, come here, Moji. Where's Soji? These guys, honestly. Anyway, these guys will be representing my core team. I mean, you would have seen them every day anyway. They wear t-shirts that have team on the back. And I just want to say how much I appreciate the work that you do for us. These guys are incredible. They are amazing. Every day it's fun, it's jokes. Sometimes I shout at them when they're naughty. But on the whole, I can't even imagine my life without them sometimes, to be honest, because they really, really enrich my life. And I want to thank you guys, all of you, for that. Thank you for the work that you put in to this festival. You didn't even get to see a single panel or book chat. He was in the bookstore the whole time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please thank them for me. I also would like you to, so every time I come out and say, check your mics, and then you pick up the mics and they actually work, that is the wonderful work of Seun Adeleye and his team. These events are so difficult if you do not have a media team that understands your vision and actually takes the time to plan ahead so that everything comes together. So when we want to see a film, we can see it. When we want to dance, whatever, we've got the space for it. Seun, Prince, all these guys manage that for me, and I really want to thank you. Please join me in giving them a really big round of applause. We don't have. Everybody, well, not everybody, I won't exaggerate, but a lot of people that I have spoken to over the last 4 days have said how beautiful this venue is, how appropriate it is, how it just seems, everything just works. So many people fell in love with the cinema, and what they go into the spaces that we've created, and they're just like, this is nice, because it's like a cultural village. I really want us to thank Alliance Française for giving us this space and letting us use it. Thank you very much, Charles and Maurice, who's amazing and helped us with, do all those little niggly things. I also want to thank the staff and management of Eric Kaiser. Normally, this is actually a restaurant. So what we've done, a lot of the people who come here, they keep giving us the evil eye when they're going to get the bread, because they actually came to eat. Maybe they didn't get the memo, but I mean, it can't have been easy for them, because it's a kind of, we've taken over the entire space. They shut the school down for us, the French school. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Alliance. Yes, Mr. Ibrahim as well. Thank you so much for all your work. Thank you. Thank you. We wouldn't be able to do this without our main partner. I think I've said this in just about every interview that I've done. I am certain that Ake Arts and Book Festival is the only festival in sub-Saharan Africa that is primarily funded by an indigenous company. I have kind of done the different, looked for funding. Fundraising is torture. Those who've done it know what it's like. It's very difficult. At the very beginning, we got a really nice, fat, juicy grant from the World Bank, and then we were kind of propped up by different organizations. And then, 2 years ago, we came in contact with Sterling, and they started small, loved what we were doing, and then said, what, we want to partner with you, and perhaps for some years to come. Abubakar Suleiman and Yemi Odubi, I think one of the things that's really special about them is that they get this. They get what we're doing. They understand that this is an investment, but it's not necessarily an investment that's going to bring quick returns. This is a long-term, Some of the young people who are here are going to be the Chimamanda Adichies of tomorrow, the Chika Unigwes, the Helen Habilas. They get the value of culture to every society. And I really, really want you to help me give them a big round of applause. I want them to hear, because they're not here. Thank you very much. And I also want to thank some of our other sponsors. Many of you have gone to do interviews at News Central. Thank you very much for that, but they've been very generous. We've got Budweiser, we've got the American Embassy, the Goethe Institute, the Government of Canada, Right Foods, Fate Foundation, Annoying Logo, Crayolan, the Miles Morland Foundation, Peugeot, Vlisco, Osiwa, Weeder Books, Nikon, and the African Women's Development Fund. Please say a big thank you to these people for me. We're very, very grateful. And we also thank our supporters, especially our media supporters, Sin City, ZAM, the Lagos Review, Bella Naija, Bacardi, they're not a media company, sorry, Wine Naija, Cafe One, Guardian Life, Zikoko, Pulse, Origin, and they'll be serving us tonight, and Diary of a Naija Girl. I want to say a very big thank you to all of them. Please give them a round of applause. So, very quickly, I would like everyone here who's an invited guest, who've come all the way from wherever they have come from in the world, to stand up. All our guests, the 2019 guests, Ake Arts and Book Festival guests. Sit down. No, not you, not you. I'm talking to Ayo. Okay, so there's no way. You have all the money in the world, but these people, if they didn't come here to speak to us with the openness, the honesty that they have done over the last 4 days, there just wouldn't be a festival. And we are so grateful to you for your time and for coming to join us in this space, for not listening to the stuff that you read on the media about Nigeria, and for believing in this vision that we are going to not only come together, we're going to network, we're going to create new things, but we are going to fuck the patriarchy. Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you. Please sit. And, okay, everybody who is not a guest, stand up. So you have the guests too, you have all the money in the world, you put up this event without the people who come and sit in these seats, who come and read the books and buy the books, nothing. So I want the guests now to give the audience, the visitors, a round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for understanding that sometimes, even with culture, with the arts, you have to pay a little something to attend and to have the benefit of enjoying everything that we've enjoyed over the last 4 days. It's been 50 events that we've done, and I'm excited about tonight's party. Have I forgotten anyone? I don't think I have. Who? Right. So you know what? We're just going to start our poetry. We're going to jump right in because I'm determined that we're going to get out of here by 7:20. So thank you. Sorry. Okay. So I'm going to invite somebody, you know, when you're a writer, one of the great things is that you get to travel the world. And it's something I've really enjoyed, meeting people in different places. So I met Onias in Amsterdam. And I looked at him and I listened to him and I thought, I've never heard his poetry, I should own up to that. But I could see that there was something special. And I could see that he would really benefit from coming to Africa and from coming to Nigeria. I think that I just believed that it was an important connection. So we invited him, and here he is, all the way from the Netherlands. Join me in welcoming Onias Landveld.
Good evening, Ake Festival. Thank you for having me here. I had a wonderful time. But I don't have a lot of time, so we're just going to jump right in. This poem is because I saw Womanizer last night. Her face didn't launch 1,000 ships, but she was beautiful, funny, nice. She didn't hang with a wild crowd, but even if she did, she would have remained terrifically pleasant and bright. But unfortunately in this world, especially the innocent get hurt. So there was no defense against the offense that was about to ensue when a young man came out of the shadow and decided to destroy a person. So she cried while he decided to start his hurting, and she was wailing, and she will never be the same. Because no one dared to defend her. No one dared to take on that fight. Everyone forgot her name. Imagine her shame when some laughed and said, well, you were always trouble. Boys will be boys. Too bad they're not real men. In this world, we tend to sexualize a lot of things, from candy to people blowing out cigarette smoke, and we look at these pictures like addicts sniffing for coke, and we cultivate lust in our members, and when it gets too hard, we surrender and turn into a degenerate gender. Aren't we ashamed of the lives that we've claimed? Sex is used to destroy, while sex can create. But why am I calling this sex while it clearly is rape? But hey, these words are too late for this little girl who turned to winter from summer overnight. If only I was a bit bigger back then. If only I was a bit quicker to understand the damage that had happened. Before it began, it would have ended, because I, with all my might, I would have defended. I was born in Suriname, a small country in South America, and it was a colony, and my first experience in Africa has been wonderful. So allow me to greet you. I carry in me those that were missing for 400 years. Those that sang songs about home while holding back tears. The ones that were missing from your roster. Unfaunude. Uwekino, Yasabimono. Those who in the blink of an eye you would instantly recognize, because although some color and language may have changed, or voices and mannerisms remained the same, kontabay. Boadrumi bon, botakordami. Now as seedlings we are paying homage to our tree. Because we were mixed and scattered to build other civilizations, forced to serve at thrones of other nations, but we never forgot the truth. We are writers, scholars, philosophers, poets, warriors. We are you. Comment allez-vous? As-tu bien dormi? Tu ne me reconnais pas? Without shackles weighing us down, we long to come home. walking to our gate of return. Because if our past remains a mystery, we will never be free. How are you? Did you sleep well? Do you recognize me? When I was 4 years old, we had to flee a civil war in Suriname. So we ended in the Netherlands. And I was the only black kid in an all-white school. And one day I went home crying to my dad, and I told him, why did you name me this? Because they cannot pronounce my names. And why did you give me why do we have a last name that sounds so Dutch? And he schooled me, and time fills me to tell you that he told me, I named you after founders of villages. I named you after healers. I gave you my name. Time fills me to tell you about my ancestors, how she and 4 sisters were transported from this continent in a boat all the way to South America, how 3 of them died going there, how she was whipped until you could take the meat off her bone, how she escaped plantations to settle herself with others in the jungle of Suriname, where culture flourished, where language came out of nothing. Time fills me to tell you how my ancestors shouted, Lanti Fair, which means land fear, me. But I have just enough time to tell you who I am. My name is Musifata Onyasi Akwensetio Gunguka Landveld. I'm a melting pot. Some even say you're some of a mixed blood. I was distilled out of Okanisi and Saramakan people. That makes me a maroon, a man that is dark on both sides. My helix is wrapped around Africa at least 4 times. I am black squared, the pride of my tribe. My name has suffered from degeneration. You see, in the fight against oppression and enslavement, my forefather Kaliko, he stood on the front line. And he yelled out, Lanti Fair, in the fight for his life. And in that lies Landveld, his identity, because this is what he said: slave owners fear me. I, a man who will fight until his last breath for his God-given right to be free. I, a man whose only unfortune was the day of my birth. That was his crime. That's where I hail from. That's why these names are mine. They are evidence of the unnatural way that they form my family line. I am here because people's lives were shuffled like cards, and then they subsequently stacked the deck. You know, circumstances make family. Choices, they make enemies. I will always remain the testimony of my forefathers, so I will always carry these names. But I hope and I pray that we don't have to go back to a time where it is necessary to generate fear, as in my forefathers' days. That being said, I will remain Musifata Onyasi Akwensetio Gunguka Lantife. Thank you.
I just want you to know, and I know that every Nigerian in this room feels the same, I want you to know that you are home, okay? So the next person I'm going to invite is the wonderful poet. Some of you listened to him, heard him in the, at the opening ceremony. So he's going to come and very quickly perform 2 poems. Join me in welcoming the incredible Logan February.
Hello, Ake Festival. We've come to the end of the festival. I'm sure everyone has had a great time. I'm going to read just 2 poems here from my book. Thanks to everyone who got a copy. This is called Lymph. I pledge allegiance to my safety nets, my beloved anchors, my self-medication and purging spell. I pledge allegiance to my lifeboat, red with the syrup of life. Once I was drowning with a shipwreck in my quaking hands. My body only works right when it slams doors in my face. At 13, all I did was run, and my left knee is still broken. Sometimes I stop breathing in my sleep. Even in rest, I am baited and reduced as if waiting for something to happen. Well, tell the sickness I have more than 2 hands. If something should happen, I have my friends who said everything for me when my voice disappeared for 2 months. My friends, my perfect friends, tiny patanga of kindness who have the doctor's phone number and mommy's phone number and an elegy for each of my missing ribs. When I am swollen with fever, they bring me ice and a tangerine. They seal my nostrils so my mouth is new and vacuous. Gentle as a shiver, they send the medicine down my throat. This time, I am opening my mouth. This time, I share my burden, and love is listening. This time I say, this body has failed me. I am in need. Bury your heart next to mine, so it is the only thing I can hear. Oshun. If I were an Orisha, I would have gone mad with grief. My white dress would turn yellow this time tomorrow if I cried hard enough. I can cry hard enough. I have cried hard enough. I know this always happens. This is what's supposed to happen. You turn into water. You become a river. It is not magic. Death has a part in everything. If I were an Orisha, no one would go mad with grief. This time tomorrow, grief will not be a part of everything. Thank you.
He is a very special kid. Well, it's a very special man. But every time he reads, something inside me just goes grrr. I can't even explain it. His book is called In the Nude. You can get it in the bookstore. I think it's time we listen to a queen. And I'm going to invite TJ Dema.
Good evening. I'll just keep my eye on Lola. She said to me 6 minutes, but she'll just cue me if she needs me to get off the stage. 1, Shibboleth. What trap awaits us, I think I know. You cannot have one without the other. Belonging creates unbelonging. And so much seems intent on separation. Somewhere between body and blood, something remains as a good fence or color at the shaver's sink. My father's face, unshaven, all these weeks at sea, shifts the bodies of posture, the way you lean a face over seething water to sweat the sick out of you. This is for the devout drowned whose tongues lick tangled seaweed, who rise beautiful from some ocean floor with the wakefulness of a clean face, the soused in white, wet robes when everywhere else is the River Jordan. Before we pull any or all 880 out of the sea, they must say water. Swallow the slosh of a soft R, the imagined ridge of a letter D in place of the water's dry T. 1, 2, mutineer. I have been spotted spreading one leg toward the light, so they come for me. While I am naked as desert sand, wet behind ear, I am rain between thighs, I am forest growing everything anew. I am sand slipping away the fullness of youth. I have grown gills in the name of a storm coming. 1, 2, 3, Ovaria. Women know that sometimes there is blood, but not death. They learn to conceal the womb with breasts, to choose that which can be lost, the hopeful recipe or the constant cake in cupboard, to empty their cup and to be content with utterly nothing. I think this will be my final poem. 4, Apoptosis. It begins with an epigraph from Rita Dove. She says, "It seems that I have always sat here watching men like you. Better than the telling was how nothing different happened. I watched the men at dawn and at sunset. They came in, voices hacking against the night, none of them accepting the hot bath the women prepared. The women prepared it carefully anyway. No thought for the early walk to fetch water, nor the back's quiet ache after years and years of babies and a heavy bucket drooling on the head, the tap, a small stick in the horizon. And they were happy, or so it seemed sometimes, singing while they gathered motswere for fire in the woods, collecting dry cow dung to fashion mud bricks, and glad to do it while the men were gone doing God knows what. And sometimes there was money, but most times there was the women plowing, laying stooks heavy as their husbands by hand. And before the reaping, their spare figures, cheap scarecrows chasing Kalea in the light, arms collapsing after a day spent between the infant and what the infant or the bird would eat. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, TJ. Do you know, I just want you to forgive me. I really want to thank some people that work at Sterling who really supported me. Dakbo, Daphne, Chidima, CY, and so many others who have just been there for the last four days. And it slipped my mind. Can you please just give them a round of applause for me? Thank you, so many of them. So I'm gonna move on quickly. We're gonna go to Canada, which is where my people want to go. If you look at Twitter, it's like we all want Canadian visas. Most of us, anyway. Join me in welcoming Tanya Evanson.
Good evening. This is dedicated to anyone who has ever cared for a parent who was ill. Physiology flutter, atrial fibrillation, brother. Repetition rhythms, extra beats, we all have it. We all have it. I seen my father's heart green on a black ultrasound screen. He'd been up to Montreal from his girlfriend Caribbean. He crossed the Quebec hospital cystine system and still sick of it. Dad's knee tried to get itself together in the thick of it. Stiff knee swollen, broke, but it was the heart that needed attention. As oldest child in the family, I was given dervish duties in the temple and training began in the kitchen. Meditating on knee for days. Food was brought, requests were made to relieve the bowels. Clean it, cook it, move it, doctor, pray, wash, sweep, repeat. Clean it, cook it, move it, doctor. Pray, wash, sweep, repeat. Physiology flutter, atrial fibrillation, brother. Repetition rhythms, extra beats, we all have it. We all have it. Now that day my father lay on his left side, shirtless, elbow to hand, hold head up, hospital bed. Ultrasound machine, running jelly clean across his black nativity chest. Dad, the doctor, was a very patient. But now cardiologist, brother, he'd jump a green screen and say, look at that heart valve. It open and close like a Mercedes-Benz sign. I said, no, it's a vagina, yo. He said, oh, it's got extra beats though. What? Extra beats though. What? It's okay, every heart has extra heartbeats. Physiology flutter, atrial fibrillation, brother. Repetition rhythms, extra beats, we all have it. We all have it. 4 chambers in the heart, making chamber music, hit, hop, 2 atrial pump in, 2 ventricle out, simultaneous, left side separate from right. The 2 never communicate but to turn vascular music to life. Flight, wind, a wave, nothing constricts at once, the heart contracts and relaxes like a dog fist getting things done. Even from stem cells in a petri dish, heart cells be on and on and on and on. Physiology flutter, atrial fibrillation, brother. Repetition rhythms, extra beats, we all have it. We all have it. We all have it. We all have it. My heart is the mud mosque of Jannah, beating for the universe itself. Every year the rains take it and faith alone rebuilds it. My heart is the pyramids of Kush and the entire complex of Giza and Teotihuacan and Angkor. What? My heart is the very Uluru, the original dome of the rock. And Mecca at Hajj is just us dancing around our own soft black stone. The Wailing Wall says, lean in and kiss me. Lhasa is a mountain gym, and the Ganges say, get naked and swim. Stonehenge says, look up at sky, as I fly to you on island with your heart medicine in a box, Father. Physiology flutter, atrial fibrillation, brother. Repetition rhythms, extra beats, we all have it. We all have it. Out of all my temples on earth, visit my grave at Giza and ask for Mat, the mother of truth. She will weigh your heart against a feather. Father, physiology flutter, atrial fibrillation, brother. Repetition rhythms, extra beats, we all have it. We all have it. A repeat retreat to the most sacred point, 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 the heart, the heart. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I know our time is short, but I got the okay to share one piece. So that one was about my father, and this one is about women. The way we treat the planet, the way we treat women is how we treat the planet. We gotta watch out. This is a poem about garbage, written on garbage. It's called Empty Empties. Now doctors collect waste from the body. They cut it open at the front, back, sideways, and scoop out hard, fat spheres. You know, they send us to pathology to determine our exact toxicity, but how can anything in existence be inessential when opposites are all so true? But now garbage collectors, they collect waste from the street. They have excellent abdominals from crunching into piles of rock again and again and again. Push it from one place to another because nobody wants this gold. At the city treasure chest, we see the Pyramid Mount. This is our own future, but we don't want it. No matter how much our garbage grows. The meek shall gently scratch at that crust in what we think are faraway lands. You know, any downtown can be a disposable plastic latte. A feminist sometimes crash at a very desk from so much white, hot milk. Upon waking, she pushed her empty cup into a bigger cup, and at night, a browner woman empties the empties into a larger trophy, but you never feel like a winner. Because her circumstance is the definition of blues. Lucky there be television for bearability. In fact, I saw 5 fat televisions working the sidewalk in my neighborhood of Park X in Jojage, Montreal, just the other day. No one wants them big anymore. Operational but thick is out of fashion. We put it out the curb and expect someone to take it. Oops, his boot kicked in the screen. No one's seen him treat her like trash. Anyway, he got a new flat top machine, and she worked good for a while. But then she turned 4-year-old and died too soon, too soon. Computer Crash Course 101. We renew, but there are fewer ways to enter her body now. That vagina Makina sewn shut up in the East Cemetery, now we got a stack of laptops women with all the necessary holes, but no juice. We put atoms together that can never get loose. We fear the empty cell, the essence of our living. You know, I could go on and on about garbage, and in fact, I will. In the name of the removal of things, empties from empties, police bullets from black men, cancer from existence, violent spouses from the home, breast from the bra, the self from social media, Israel from Palestinian, corporations from all over. Pimples and splinters and bra line lipoma, feet from high heels and all our plastic paraphernalia. I could go on and on about garbage, but in nature, there's no such thing. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Tanya. This is the, you know when we started this journey 2 years ago trying to get you here, we did it finally, right? And it's wonderful. Thank you so much for coming. Next, Wana Udoba.
Good. I have only 6 minutes. Good evening, everyone. So I have only 6 minutes. We were girls once, before our fathers were the first men to turn our hearts into pieces of splintered glass, before he left us, before he never came for us, before our uncles touched us. Before the first time we said no, before the boys that pinned our bodies to the ground, before our skins were marked, you were a girl once. Before you learned to chew your tongue as your first solid meal, before you swallowed your voice, before anhedonia robbed you of breath, before joy curdled inside your belly, before you became your mother, before you bathed in her silence, before you became skilled at fear, before unrequited love. Before the love that never stayed, before you stayed, before God told you to submit, before your skin grew its shell, before self-loathing, before everything was dead on arrival, before loneliness dragged itself across your chest to sit in your lungs, before the light went out in your eyes, before you mapped your way in the dark, before you learned to walk twice. We were girls once. Your mother says that you are spilling with guts. She kisses her teeth every time you sit, says you spread and sink into the living room couch, says your back has no arc and your bum has no bounce. Every time she sees you, her voice is thickened with anger because you fail miserably at this kind of self-sculpting. You are painted in your father's skin. You wear his frugal hands and slip right into his flat feet. This is why she sends you a care package of creams, teas, and potions in between. You see, your mother is doused in lemon cream. She's burning on both cheeks. Her hips are stuffed in girdles. She's crackling at the seams. Her blood is a cocktail of diets and diuretics. This is why she soaks your breakfast in chilies. Says the heat will purge you of your ugliness. Since your body is twice this size, she gives you a double dose of everything, including her regrets. When you become a woman, you'll forget how many abortions spilled from between your thighs. You'll forget the number of boys you let climb over you just because they called you beautiful. When you become a woman, you will have conversations with your mother. Tell her how all the women inside of you will never match up to the daughter in her head. Tell her how you tiptoe till you tippled from your own inadequacy. You will tell her that when your body became anesthetized by expectations, it was easy to consider your veins as tight ropes. And then she will tell you how she strung amulets around her waist, burned candles, kept vigil, bathed in prayers, drenched her pillows in anointing oil, how she did everything not to become her own mother. And you will read about epigenetics. Discover that your mother's trauma could bury itself inside your marrow without altering your bones. When you become a woman, your body will become an archive of memories. Your body will become a landmine of loss. You will become a dirge. You will wonder where beginnings stop and end. When you become a woman, your mother will tell you about how she mutilated her body, splayed each part to be sanctified by the sun so that your father could love her. When you become a woman, you will learn that the easiest person to forgive will be your mother. When I was a little girl, my mother would mix a bucket of dough into the night. Now, rising to twice the size of a forgotten dream, she would squeeze each ball into the searing heat because this was what it took to put clothes on our backs and books in our bags. My mother would never let her children out with an empty stomach. I'm a woman now, and I know that I'm my mother's daughter, learning courage through her blistered hands and knowing fearlessness in the lines of her smiling face. Sometimes we barter in silence like people do secret handshakes. She recalls the woman who hawked the clothes off her back to keep me here, and I recall the little girl trapped between a shop floor and a tuition payment, too far away from home to know if I would ever make it. But somewhere between our silence and the humming generator, my mother whispers, "We made it." You are the unanswered dream you have been waiting for. You are the rebirth to your shrunken spirit. You are liquid gold and fairy dust. You are DNA, a tapestry of miracle, myth, and magic. You're punching between ideas and dreams. You are connecting galaxies. You are weaving planets. You are multitasking. You are the inheritance of greatness. You are the blessing of your mother's tongue. You carry the universe in the chamber of your chest. You were made to walk on water. And so if they ever tell you that this revolution will not be televised, tell them that you stood at the foot of your ancestors calling your bodies back from the dead. Tell them that you are your grandmother's buried bones, and tell them that you have unknotted the silence binding your throats. Tell them that you are writing your memoirs in real time. And so if they ever tell you that this revolution will not be televised, tell them that you are the revolution.
I love you, Anna. Thank you so much. Anna is one of my favorite people in the world. Always stands by me, always supports me, and you know, Wana and a few other people. I appreciate you, and I appreciate what you did at the opening. Thank you very much, but never do it again. Dami Ajayi.
Good evening, Lagos. You should answer me. I'm not one of you again. Though. So, a lot of ancestors, a lot of our friends have joined, or a lot of our elders have joined the ancestors this year. We lost Ifeanyi Menkiti. We lost Pius Adesomi on my birthday. We lost Biavanga Wainaina. And of all these people, I'm sure you do not know Ifeanyi Menkiti. Ifeanyi Menkiti was a philosopher and poet, and I'm just going to share one of his poems with you. And if there's enough time, I may read one of mine. So this is from Bright Light, a segment of it. A bow that is tightly drawn, and in the chest of the horseman drawing the bow, a tightness he did not know was there. And you ask, what is the measure of our aims? The acts that our aims accomplish, or the thing inside each of us that is the source of our aimings. A man may be a woman who does not have an answer to the question. It is all right for the man or woman not to have an answer to the question. It is all right for the man or woman to still lay claim to the world. And as to your question, why poets feel they can say the same things two different ways, let it be remembered that this is a question. It is not legitimate to ask, even though some may find legitimacy in the asking of it. And while the earth, as you're supposed to fall out of its orbit, there will be no place for it to hide. For the space between the words, it is there for all to see. The world and its mystery swirling can only hide so much from both of us. A sun, which is our neighbor, and another which our neighbor is, and who knows what light each from the other casts. Is this then the basis of our genuflection, the basis of our walking proud? Maybe the basis is not for you or for me to decipher, but for you and for me to remember not to forget. An old man from Africa praying, may speech not choke us, but be our companion now and in the future. And so a toast to Altair the bright light and the body of Aquila the eagle, to Deneb the tall light, in Synagos the swan. Regulus and Arcturus, they were guarding their homes. Milosevic of Serbia, he too was guarding his home. He too was wearing some panzer boots. Call home all you that are troubled. You'll find more trouble there. The earth is where we live. The earth, it is the only place we may call home. Thank you. Okay, so this is my own now. Anatomy of silence. What do I accept from this silence? The silence that lacerates peace. The silence anathema to bliss. The silence frenzied like an addict, deluded about cocaines and clouds. This silence pensive, dramatic, amping tension, ranking intention. This silence violent and vicarious. This silence between two lovers and two phones. This silence seems to say something. My bunny ears cocked at the angle of a murderer's gun. I can't hear you. I can't hear. I can't. I listen for silence. The rub of nappy ear on metal. The rub of stringy beard on brass. I listen beyond this silence to the tragic music of indifference. If victory invites ululation, why must silence seek its own company? If I know comfy silence, plush like Persian rugs and burgundy Ottomans, silence cut with the finesse of affluence, silence that accounts for itself, silence that touches itself. I know postcoital silence, spent bodies in repose, the plop of a weary heart, buried so far deep in a rack of rib cages. I know the silence of old couples, sashaying in the wind, cloth hems fluttering, holding hands and each other's lives with a gentle grip, calcified by church blessings and offsprings. I know the silence of flailing love, its complacency trudging with eggshell caution. I know the silence of sibling rivalry, knotted by mother's love and cord blood. I know the silence that precedes sleep, the deep into unconsciousness, neurons decelerating, activating dreams and slow waves. I've learned the lofty lesson of silence and its kinship with patience. The gap between two songs on the playlist is silence. The lacuna between two rising voices is silence. The response to unrequited love is silence. A mother's call of an errant child demands silence. The gaps between prayers is silence. The hallmark of a graveyard is silence. And the nature of silence itself is stillness. Tell the tranquil water about silence. Tell the aftermath of a reverberating echo about silence. Tell silence about silence, and silence will be its response. But where do I hold this silence? How do I fold it into a flotilla of origamis coasting on the bayou? This silence, vibrant and elusive, it begs to be accepted. But how do I accept this silence? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dami. And to close the night, I'm going to invite the wonderful Debbie Anit Africa.
Black woman, black woman, black woman. Black woman, take a break from your organizing. Black woman, put down your market bag. Black woman, close the computer screen and come in. Come in, black woman. Come in and take a reasoning. I'm calling all black women from across the land, African, diasporic, academic, intellectual, transgender, cisgender. No, beg you some water. I need lubrication. African, diasporic, academic, intellectual, transgender, cisgender, no gender, two-spirit, queer and lesbian, all spectrum, all abilities, middle class, working class, wealthy, laborer, activist, scientist, farmer and teacher, lawyer, fashionista, soca sizer, healer, architect, politician, producer, writer. Come. Miss Effie, come. Come take a seat and sit down upon the ground. Let me and you, black woman, me and you have a long conversation about your heart. Yes, black woman, your heart and its current situation, the health of your heart within the nation, black woman. Black woman, we cannot live without our lives. We bludgeoned and betrayed by wounds and knives and barbed wire and bombs. Bombs that explode our hearts. Bombs that explode our homes and our streets. We, black woman, we caught in the crossfire of ownership and potential, property, silence, violence. Black woman, we cannot live without our lives. Black woman, do you know, black woman, how your heart's strong? Big, open and wide like the ocean, unending, black woman, like the Nile is long. Your black woman heart absorbing human misunderstanding, miscommunication and misinterpretation, black woman. Your black woman heart dissolving human macro and microaggression, remedying human racism and prejudice and bias and appropriation, black woman, in a world that often chooses to forget that humanity spring up like springtime, fresh from the loins of an African woman. Black woman, you overstand? Black woman, we cannot live without our lives. We, stitched lips shut, necks noosed broken, hands bent backwards, our cons carved open. We, black woman, we are no feeding ground. We are no feeding ground for the hungry monsters of humanity who eat our children, who eat our water, who eat our seeds, who eat our forests, who eat our animals, who eat our air, who eat and 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 eat. When will enough be enough, black woman? When will they have had enough, black woman? Let us begin to know. Let us begin to know that we indeed make this world go round because you're tender. You're tender, tender black woman heart, tender, tender, tender like rain cloud, swell up, swell up, swell up, pregnant with tears ready to fall, black woman, because those tears always, they always wash the troubles away. Which troubles, black woman? Which troubles? The troubles of misogyny, the troubles of classism, the troubles of homophobia, the troubles of hierarchy, the troubles of elitism, black woman, the troubles of bigotry. Now, whether you are in front or behind, black woman, whether it's quiet maneuvers from the corner or you're a frontline worker, black woman, your tender black woman heart refuses. It refuses to stop. It refuses to stop beating. It refuses to stop beating resistance. Resisting what? What are we resisting, black woman? What are we resisting? We are resisting erasure, exclusion, violence, and poverty. Your steady black woman heart, steady like generation upon generation upon generation of freedom fighters, black woman. Freedom fighters whose hearts beat even after individual death, even after they kill us one by one. My granny used to tell me, say, when one fall, another warrior is born, black woman. When one fall, another warrior is born. And your heart, black woman, your heart beats its way through feelings of ostracization and isolation and alienation, black woman, because your black woman heart, it honors collective action. Do you know, black woman, that you indeed make this world go round? This 365 days around the sun is a revolution brewing in our cauldron, because the times of stakes and burnings and lynchings and bombings and rapings, these times must end. I am the daughter of a mother who is the daughter of a woman, and you are the child of a person who is the child of a human. So I'm calling you all. I'm calling you all, black woman from across the land. Now, I know, black woman, I know that sometimes the weight on your heart is so heavy. It's so heavy that your heart crack and your heart break under the stress and the strain of the everyday. But remember, black woman, remember, in those silent moments, remember, in the dark corner, remember, at your workplace, remember, with the children, remember, with your partner, remember, on the road, remember, in at the festival, remember, black woman, that your heart, your black woman heart is resilient. Your black woman heart is excellent. It is your heart's middle name. Black woman, let me tell you something. Black woman, that sweet sugar dumpling, ackee and saltfish, peas and rice, fufu, kelewele heart of yours. That heart is a blossoming flower of excitement and possibility, of beauty and integrity, of playfulness and sensuality. That heart of yours is the dreamer of all realities, black woman. You are the dreamer of all realities. You, black woman, are the mother. You are the mother. You are the mother of humanity. Now, black woman, I want you to hold your heart. I want you to hold it. Don't be ashamed, or afraid. I want you to hold your heart in this moment right now. We're coming to the end of the festival, and we have certainly earned the right to hold our hearts. Black woman, hold your heart for a moment right now. Hold your heart gently with all of the love that you can muster somehow. Black woman, hold your heart and whisper a chant of, I love you. Black woman, hold your heart and whisper a chant of, I love you. Black woman, hold your heart and whisper a chant of I love you. Now breathe in and breathe out, Black woman, and feel your heart smiling out loud. Feel your heart relax and grow deeper. Feel your heart expand and become wiser. Feel your heart beating, beating, beating for all your ancestors who are so proud of you. We 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 are so proud of you for all that you are, for all that you are, Black woman, and for all that you do. Black woman, keep the whole world turning. Black woman, keep loving, keep leading, keep learning. Integrity, honesty, generosity, ferocity, courageousness, humility, your power source. And when you're feeling sadness, Black woman, stay the course. And when you're feeling anger, Black woman, stay the course. And when you're feeling lonely, Black woman, stay the course. And when you're feeling hate, when you're feeling hate, Black woman, stay the course. You have a day that's not going so great, Black woman, stay the course. We need you. We love you. Keep the whole world turning. Thank you.
I'm never going to shower again. So we're going to do something, right? And I need your help as we have come to the end of this event. So please, now we need our guests who are flying out tonight to be able to leave now. So everybody else, stay seated. Foreign guests flying out tonight, please rise and make your way to the buses. They're waiting for you. Don't follow them, oh. Leave them, just sit. You have missed your opportunity for selfie. Another time. Abdul Karim, leave them alone. And on that note, I think our people have all gone now. They left. Amaka, they've gone? Excellent. I want to thank you all very much again. See you in 2020. Thanks.